Here we go.
Hello, I'm Haley Bell, and this is TTRPG News. This week in our news cycle, we had some big things drop. The first being, okay, I can't do that for too long. The first being, if you do not know what Humble Bundle is, you are sorely missing out. Oh, aloha. Fun fact, my parents lived in Kona for 5 years.
Actually, isn't your mom still there now?
My mom is currently in Kona visiting her best
friend.
She is. But hello and welcome from Hawaii. But if you are not familiar with Humble Bundle, you need to go get familiar with it now. Warhammer, which likes to call itself a fantasy RPG game, which it really isn't. It's just a strategy.
It's a war game.
It's a strategy war game.
Fantasy, though.
It's a fantasy strategy war game. It's not an RPG. But they have all of their books currently available on Humble Bundle. I'm not kidding, all of them, all 50 ebooks, including the core rulebook and the bestiary, available on Humble Bundle for $30. Now, I would just like to let you guys know we're about to drop the link. I believe we're dropping the link in the chat. We are not affiliated with Humble Bundle. We are not affiliated with Warhammer. This is just a bloody freaking good deal.
We've bought from Humble Bundle before. Humble Bundle. I can't speak tonight. I've got bacon lips.
We've purchased things from Humble Bundle before. I don't know if D&D has ever done a Humble Bundle, but I know Paizo does.
We bought all of our Starfinder stuff through that.
Yeah, we bought the entire Starfinder set from that, and it's super awesome. This set currently is for Warhammer is valued at like $536, and you're getting it for $30.
Okay, so we've got optional rule. Warhammer is a war game. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is an RPG.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I was just schooled by the chat. Big surprise. Ooh. I get schooled by the chat every week.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm not stupid, I swear. Okay, that's cool. No, that's really good to know, because I always thought that like they were the same thing.
Well, because your dad played the war game.
Yeah.
Your dad played Warhammer the war game. That's what you've known all your life.
Pretty much.
So I actually myself have never played the RPG, so.
Okay, well then it's the
Warhammer
Fantasy roleplay game.
Maybe it's time for us to go pick that one up.
That's the one that's on the Humble Bundle, so go get it. If you don't have some of the books, go get them. It's pretty awesome. Okay.
There goes our savings this month.
Not all of it, maybe just like half of it. Okay, if we're only saving $60 a month, we're in trouble. Okay, now to Weston for our next news story.
Tonight's top story is actually a very important one. So Paizo, if you have been following the news, the writers and workers of Paizo, the makers of Pathfinder and Starfinder, have been creating a union. And as of just a couple days ago, Paizo has officially acknowledged and recognized the union. They didn't fight it at all. They immediately got the, hey, we're unionized. You need to sign this saying that you
acknowledge our
us.
Union.
They signed no problem. So they are now the first unionized workforce in TTRPG.
Yeah, it is a really, really big deal because there's been a lot of hullabaloo online about the idea now that I only play the unionized RPG. Now, while I think that's kind of virtue signaling, at the same time, I do think it's kind of a part of adding value to the gaming world in TTRPGs is the idea that you are going to treat your employees well. And since this happened, I've seen so many more stories on Twitter about people kind of not coming out and bashing Wizards of the Coast, but at the same time bashing Wizards of the Coast because they are treating their people like crap.
It's going to, I mean, the workers of Wizards of the Coast are going to see this and they're going to want to follow suit. Mm-hmm. Everyone in the industry is going to want to follow suit. I imagine there will be a union for the workers of those different companies and then probably a freelancer union. Yeah. Eventually, I would imagine. And that's going to change the face of the industry. It could be for way better, or it could also bog down releases. It could make it to where it's a lot harder to get new content.
Yep.
So there are always pluses and minuses to any change. It'll be interesting to watch over the next year how this changes the industry, because it will change things.
It will. It's going to be really, really interesting. Okay.
So I'll bring it back to you.
No, you have the next one.
Oh, I've got the next one. Sorry.
We're very professional here, you guys.
Oh, yes. So we found out about this news recently. There is a new D&D supplement that is being released, which features the heroes and villains of Baldur's Gate. If you have played the PC games or them on console or anything, they are classic games of RPGs. And they have created a new supplement that gives you stat blocks and all of the information you need in order to bring them into your game as NPCs or as villains. So if you are a fan of Baldur's Gate and are wanting to bring them into your game, well, guess what? You don't have to homebrew it anymore.
You don't. It's really cool. Actually, I don't know if this is the first time. And chat, school me if I'm getting this wrong.
Please
is
school
this
us.
The first time that Baldur's Gate has actually been integrated into the actual D&D game, like the tabletop game?
No, they're in the same world. So
I know they're in the same world, but like they were built as one was a video game. The characters were all in the video game.
Apparently,
One was
Midlife
a
Dices
TTRPG.
says it's not. So it's not the first time.
It's not the first time. Okay, I just didn't. I'm a little baby.
She hasn't played Baldur's Gate, so.
I haven't. We purchased it though during the Steam sale.
But with our 3 children, we'd have lots of time to play video games.
That's true. Okay, so our very last news story, second to last is Critical Roles had their opener for campaign 3 and it was amazing, and we saw it in the theaters and it was very exciting, and like they had record breaking numbers of people watching it live. Kind of old hat.
We kind of were at the movie theater to watch it.
And we were up really, really late.
And it was great.
Okay, in all seriousness, though, we're both major critters, and it was a really fantastic opener. We really enjoyed it, and the way that they brought in, no spoilers, but the way that they brought in certain things was exciting.
I can just say...
Oh my gosh, right? Fresh cut grass.
I just love the way fresh cut grass smells.
It smells wonderful, along with oatmeal.
And other things.
And other things.
So, yes. Fresh as grass.
I have to say though.
Do you have to?
Yes, I do. When that happened on screen, it was in the theater. It was not the reaction that the players had. In the theater, it was immediate, rapturous, like crazy laughter. Like I couldn't hear what was said afterwards because the theater was laughing so hard.
It was an eruption of laughter.
I couldn't breathe. So I'm like, yeah. So I have a friend who actually just watched the opener. And I said, please stay on chat until you get to Sam's character. When Sam introduces his character, then you can do whatever you want. But please, I want to know your reaction to Sam's character.
Yes.
He is my favorite so far. And all of the fan art that's already out there, I'm just like collecting it all. I'm like, yes, I want one of those. And yes, I want one of those. So anyway, but that's what's supposed to final news story. The final news story is D&D has kind of always had this issue, not always, but for a while has had this issue with homebrewing and where people are finding D&D lacking. So a company has come together and built a system called Level Up 5e. This is being lauded as the D&D 5e version of the Pathfinder shoot-off, if that makes sense.
So if you aren't aware, because some people might not be, with Dungeons & Dragons...
N-World is doing it.
Okay. With Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, there was a group of the developers who wanted to do some additional things. They thought they could make a slightly better system. And so you had them branch off, and then D&D made 3.5, and they created Pathfinder 1st edition. Mm-hmm. Pathfinder grew in popularity, especially after the disaster that was 4th edition.
4th edition, that you saw how fast 5th edition came out.
Pathfinder became the popular TTRPG for a little while. Because it just gave so much more depth and so much more options and different cool things. Mm-hmm. This is being lauded as that same level. So if you're for me as a Pathfinder 2nd edition fan who is looking at 5th edition, I am very interested in this purchase.
Yeah, so and it's been spoken about and written up about in places like Screen Rant and other kind of nerdy news places. And I went in and actually looked at the build and kind of what the idea is behind it. And I really loved it. And that's kind of what spurred on our main topic of conversation. But we're not there yet, because first we have to do the what did I do? I created a jingle for this, you guys.
There's a jingle?
There's a jingle. Okay, hold on. Ugh.
Please pause for station identification.
It was do indie roundup.
Oh gosh. It's Woody's Roundup.
Shut up. I tried to make it cool. It's fine. Okay. So we're going to be doing, this is going to be a segment on TTRPG News every week where we are going to spotlight and feature 3 independent creators within the TTRPG sphere. If you are interested in being featured, then just shoot me a message at partyof2rpg@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter, partyof2rpg live, and just let me know that you would like to be featured. So today,
I did not prepare a jingle at all.
Weston doesn't. I'm the musician. I think Pathfinder First Edition is better than 5e or even. Okay, we're gonna address that. We're gonna address that after our indie roundup. Okay, our first is Love and Barbed Wire. It's from the group or from the company Plain Sailing Games. And this is a little blurb about the game. This is an immersive tabletop story game for 2 players. A game session typically takes 1 hour to play. All you need is a pack of playing cards, some paper, and pens, and this short rulebook. You don't need any historical knowledge to play. The rulebook is filled with real-life examples that will help steer you toward the kind of love letters that people were writing to one another. This game is set during the Great War, and it is designed specifically for that long distance feel while being at the table. The idea of this game captured me when I first saw it months ago.
So I feel like, what exactly are you doing in the game?
In the game, you're like, you have the core rule book and you have these different scenarios and you choose your characters and stuff like that. But then it's like you're writing letters to each other.
So this is love. This is love
letters. It's the
letters.
notebook. It's love letters. It's like it's cuteness. Anyway, I don't know if it's all just love and gushy, but we're married and I like love and gushy. So there we go. So Weston just dropped their information in the chat. So if you're interested in supporting them, go ahead and go over to that link. That's going to take you directly to their drive-through RPG, and you can read more about it. You can get a PDF version or physical copies of the cool rulebook. Next up, Double DM Pod. Double DM is a TTRPG discussion podcast focused on discussing different TTRPG and D&D related questions and topics to get a deeper understanding of how and why we play, to extract how to get better at running and playing the game. This is run by a good friend of mine named Emil. He is absolutely wonderful, fantastic interviews, great conversations. I really enjoy listening to him. So if you like to listen to podcasts, his link is right there. And our last, but definitely not least, is Isabella Duffels. She is a TTRPG artist. She's based in Brazil, and the first time I ever saw her stuff, I seriously fell in love. She has an amazing, fantastic. That was awesome. Cartoonish style that is reminiscent to the 1990s, 1980s cartoon style. She
like
has
original Batman.
Yeah, kind of, but like with a little bit of a modern spin.
I'll have to go look at it.
It's really cool. I really like her style. She has some new pieces out for Halloween, and my favorite is a little dragon, and is curled. It's like an orange dragon. It's curled around a little cup of tea, and there's little ghosties coming out for steam instead of like steam from the teacup. It's seriously adorable. So Weston just dropped her info in there, and her Twitter is at Isabella_Duffels, and I forgot to include that in the link, but you guys, she only has 209 followers, and that is like a travesty. She is amazing. So please go follow her at Isabella_Duffels. She's incredible, and I will get that in there as soon as we get started.
That in the chat.
But that is the end for our indie roundup. I'm so gonna get a copyright strike. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is it. So, Weston,
we will
close this out.
And back to you, Bob.